you're not gonna leave?
No.
Oh. Well, it was easier than I thought then.
Last time you was mentioning bitches, I didn't get in the fade, bro. She blacked my eye.
Oh, the homegirl abusive.
Yeah, bro, abusive.
The homegirl domestic violence.
Yes, bro.
I'm not daddy anymore, according to your mother. You're gonna have another daddy. How's that?
Hey folks, in this video, we'll be watching 3 stories or 3 abusive situations where I'll offer you my initial reactions and comments, but then also some comments on the research and then my professional experience working in the area of domestic violence. So my name is Dr. Jacob Otis. I have a PhD focused on abuse and domestic violence, and I've been working in this area for about 10 years. And as I'm editing this video, 5 or 6 hours or so after I recorded it in between meetings earlier today, I was editing it and rewatching it, and these are some dicey ones in terms of kind of the maliciousness and the depth of some of this abuse. So I'm not sure why you're here, but I'm glad you're here watching this, and let's get right into the first one.
No, but you know what? I don't know how to tell him that someone else got me pregnant. Freaking flip out, girl.
This is so stupid. What is her goal?
Yo.
No, it's not.
But
Yo. Yo, hang up the phone.
I hate these.
Hang up the phone. What did you just say?
He's tripping again. He's freaking.
What'd you just say?
What?
Someone else got you pregnant? Is this not my kid?
What are you talking
This
about?
might be
Yeah, bro.
staged. Maybe
What?
not.
Did someone else get you pregnant?
No.
You just said that right in front of me.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, well then tell the other guy he's gonna have to kick rocks, but because he wasn't right next to you for 8 months straight.
Okay.
It's my kid.
So you don't mind?
What do I mind? Are you fucking crazy, bro?
So you're not gonna leave?
No.
Oh. Well, it was easier than I thought then.
Joke's on him. He's gonna be paying child support for my kid.
Okay. I hate these loyalty tests, these commitment tests. It's emotional entrapment, because what you're doing, or when people do these, is you put somebody in a situation where there is no right answer. He chooses to stay with her, and now he's like this guy who's willing to stay with a woman who's pregnant with somebody else and carrying somebody else's child, one of those guys. Or he leaves and he's an asshole for leaving her in the 8th month of pregnancy. There is no right answer, and this is like gaslighting and the deep psychological or emotional abuse manipulation with jealousy induction. You put somebody in the situation, well, what do you do if I do X, Y, and Z? In this case, pretty extreme example, being pregnant with somebody else's child biologically. And like, it is so messed up, obviously, this commitment testing. And what it could be doing as well is, I think she might be, if he has a past of abandonment, for example, and has sort of weak attachments with father figures, stepfather, biological father, he was raised by a single mother, she could be preying upon the fact that he doesn't want to put another child in that situation, so he's choosing to stay with her even though the child's not hers biologically. Which, if she is, I got a series of choice words there, and maybe she is doing this commitment testing because she has very low self-esteem and she's very concerned about her role and vulnerability being pregnant. And if she is, she's going about it really poorly and unhealthily, and it's gonna you're breaking trust in a relationship by doing this, even if they're not, or they're willing to stay with you, whatever. Like, what precedent does that set for you and your relationship going forward between you and him, that he's willing to do that for you and you're willing to, probably it's attention seeking by putting on the internet, and she put the dash cam up there to see his reaction. Either way, like, that kind of like dark I have to be careful with the words I use, being a professional, but very like unhealthy relationship behavior here. In terms of this, like, attention seeking that she is doing on the internet, or commitment testing with him. Or, too, what people do sometimes, this is kind of getting into the deep psychology a bit, is they will essentially do this kind of establishing power, testing the amount of coercive controlled power they have over a partner. I'm going to put him in this hypothetical, maybe it's not, situation, and see how he responds. And if he says, I'll stay with you despite being pregnant with somebody else's child, what else can I get away with? So it could be that, if we want to dig a little deeper potentially, in terms of, what motivations there might be at play here. But run for the hills, fast and far.
Right here at the block with the homies. Say, what's up, boo?
Hey, what's happening?
Tap in with us. Where the bitches at though? Yes, sir. We trying to kick it.
Oh, bitches, bro. I told you this.
Why not?
Bro, my girl got you on there. I told you that.
Wait, so why haven't you blocked her from?
I blocked her already on my phone, but I can't do that on your account, bro.
What?
She see everything you post.
Oh.
Remember the last time you was mentioning bitches?
Huh?
I didn't get in the fade, bro. She blacked my eye.
Oh, the homegirl abusive.
Yeah, bro. Abusive. And
The homegirl domestic violence.
Yes, bro.
But
Bro.
then just leave her, fool. She's probably weird,
I've
fool.
been trying to,
She's a
bro.
weirdo, fool.
It's like I'm addicted to this shit. I don't know. I can't explain it to you, bro.
You're addicted to bitches punching you in the face?
It's easier said than done, bro. I can't. I don't know.
So women, non-binary folks, they're victims of domestic violence compared to men higher, in terms of physical stuff, in terms of spousal homicide, where like a guy takes the life of his, ex-girlfriend or wife or what have you. So that's a reality. It's established in the research. But we also know from research that for men, depending on the study, it's like 3 to 20% of men are victims of physical domestic violence. So the point being, it happens, and this is an example of kind of that, and then how the male stigma of being a victim of domestic violence is really hard to sort of get around. Where you see the friend kind of making fun of him, like you're addicted to getting punched in the face, for example. That's a good example of how men will kind of joke about it. What it's doing is it's this gender violence normalization, where it's normalized that women can be violent against men. The other way around is not okay. So it's the kind of that minimization of, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, scratch you, give you a black eye, like, haha, you better get your stuff together. That sort of sentiment, which is really bad, obviously. So like I'm seeing that in there as well. And then we have this really kind of clear example of how this trauma bonding or intermittent reinforcement attachment, abusive intermittent reinforcement attachment, where you have essentially people in the cycle of an abusive relationship, and then they have this sort of dependency sort of kind of put upon them by the other person. Like, you depend on me for these things. They fight a lot, then they're like, having sex all the time. They fight a lot, sort of in that cycle. And that dependency, through fear, is obviously, that's coercive control, where you are applying this pressure to somebody else to, again, kind of have that power over them or gain that, power over them. And then the guy is like kind of face his affect. He had this sort of kind of anticipatory fear or this hypervigilance, where he seems like just genuinely like, oh shit, like if I don't like get ahead of this, there's going to be real harm done upon me because of the past. And I know from the conditioning of my behavior by my partner to me, I better like not let this fly or do this. Probably anyway, really, really bad. And as the friend, if your friend, I made a video about this, as a friend, if they're in an abusive situation, don't make fun, obviously. Let them know you're a resource, you're a safety net for them if they need like housing or transportation, or if you want like me to be there when you like leave, for example, I'll be on speed dial for you, essentially, instead of just saying, why don't you leave? Why don't you do this? Are you addicted to punch in the face? Not supportive friend, behavior here. So do that, offer yourself up as a resource rather than, make it fun.
Your family you shunned? Or they shunned you, I don't know. Who do you have? Tell me.
You forced me.
Cool, that's what I thought. Nobody.
Who do you have?
Myself, because I made myself self-sufficient. You did not do that. You clung to me because of that.
He's the breadwinner and throwing it in her.
I'm not daddy anymore, according to your mother. You're gonna have another daddy. How's that? Then you don't have to be a single mom. Go find your Anthony.
What a prick,
You're not allowed to carry
dude.
I'm sorry, baby. You're not allowed. Your mom will do something fucking weird. You want to carry? Okay.
I hope his grandmother sees this.
So, your mom didn't change you either.
You brought her down here. I had Evie, whom I was feeding until a moment ago.
I hate you. I'll never love you. You're a disgusting person. You drive people like this. You leave.
Okay. What a contemptuous prick. Again, I have more words in my mind that I won't say out loud because that's not very professional. He needs lots of help. He needs help fast, and he needs very much all the professionals, to, he needs to be away from other human beings for a while to maybe do some self introspection and maybe grow as a human being. Because, okay, when I work with guys like this, they're out there in the terms, really, it's the manosphere, I think, in some ways that is partially to blame, where men sometimes think they're God's gift to womankind. And they're very difficult to deal with, these types of folks and these mindsets at these times. They can change and, emerge out of that, but it's a lot of work. Um, they think, again, they're God's gift to women. They can do nothing wrong. I'm the breadwinner. The financial money that I make is like I should deserve to be worshipped and praised in the household. And you do nothing, woman, in terms of your household work and your emotional labor. That's the mindset some human beings have in our world, and it's really unfortunate. And we have him who is incredibly contemptuous, which means I'm just better than you. I'm built differently. I'm, kind of just a whole at a base level better human being. So you have that individual stuff going on with this human being, and then there seems to be some evidence here in her descript or her text and then his behavior that he's doing these gatekeeping behaviors, which is essentially you socially isolate people from other supports and force a dependency on yourself. So it sounds like here he maybe isolated her from her family and friends so that she'd be dependent upon him. And then now that the relationship broke down for whatever reason, doesn't matter, and excuse this behavior, by the way, we're at now, and he's using the kids, and this is my, hopefully he's using the kids as an emotional tool, as a pawn to hurt her feelings. And, that's very effective, I know, in terms of probably how she's going to be feeling about this later that evening. And, using the kids, what it does is it essentially, using the kids in these characterological attacks on her, you're increasing the chance of these children, two of them it looks like, carrying this intergenerational trauma and abuse. In other words, they see this behavior between mom and dad as normal, and it can manifest as these physical and as these mental health complications. And there's some research on this that I can't think of right now because I'm so pissed off at this human being. I'll put it in the description when I'm editing this. And, I really hope, again, he gets put away from other humans for a while so he can, do some work in reading and some self-education perhaps of his own behavior, and that we don't talk to other humans like that. We don't use our kids in conflicts because it doesn't help anybody in the long term. So I'm just sad right now, and I'm no more thoughts for me on this. This just pisses me off. And that's all, folks. Thank you for watching. And I forgot to record an outro earlier today. And as I was rewatching, those stories, those situations in my own comments, of course, I have different thoughts and things that add and change now as I'm editing it. But I'm curious, very curious about your thoughts, your perspectives on those different situations in my comments. Do you have any different opinions, or do you agree or disagree? I'm always curious to read those. I appreciate reading those. So that's all for now. Toodles, and subscribe.